They should be here any minute, Captain.
And you're sure it was a good idea to hire these wedding planners and decorators instead of Twiley and her friends?
Of course. Their business cards say they're the finest wedding planners that ever wedding to plan.
What does that even mean?
I don't know, but they're cheap and we're on a deadline. Let's just give them a chance. Oh, that must be them now.
Hello?
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 Here we are, boss, at your service. So, are you guys really certified wedding planners and decorators? Are we wedding planners and decorators?
Are we wedding planners and decorators?
Are we?
Quiet, mongoose.
Ow! What did I do?
Nothing, but I want to keep it asymmetrical.
Dude, you and I both know that I don't know what that means.
Okay, look. The big day is coming up in a few days, so I need this room to look amazing for me and my fiancé. Just follow these instructions, okay? You got nothing to worry about, boss.
Boss? I thought he was the groom.
I'll groom you.
Ow! Watch your phrasing.
Oh, a Jack the Ripper, eh? Hitting little goyles.
Gentlemen!
Huh? Who came in?
No, you! Ugh. Look, I gotta go out and get my outfit dry cleaned. Just see what you can do to make this ballroom look nice for the reception until I get back, okay?
We're off to decorate the wedding hall.
We'll
have it done in no time at all.
Excelsior! All right, Spinach Chin, start painting that wall over there.
I'll paint it when I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Certainly. No.
Hey, what's the idea? The centerpieces are supposed to go in the center, you loon! And it's one per table!
Oh! So it's not just a pretty name.
Ugh, remind me to gouge your eyes out later.
I won't have time later.
I butchered him! I Van Gogh'd his face off! Oh! Paint remover! Good as new if it ain't better. What's the idea? You ruined the painting! Why, I oughta
Hey, how's the painting coming? What's the matter with you, chowderhead? We can't have him looking a mess on this big day! No kidding. Look, just forget the painting, all right? Start hanging the balloons and streamers. Can you do that?
Well, certainly, Groomy Woomy. Why, everywhere we go, they say these guys should hang. Now
listen here, Broccoli Head. Get over there and start hanging the balloons. Let a man with some brains hang the streamers.
But we're all out.
Of streamers?
No, of men with brains. I'll go over there.
I'll open this thing, or else...
Ow!
Hey, that fixed it! I'm sorry, Thespio.
Oh, that's okay, kid. Accidents happen in the best of families. You know, I think this bottle's a little defective.
Yeah, I think it's a dud. Ouch! That must have been a really hard year.
Remind me to send you to the cleaners with the rest of the flat work. Now get a rag and clean this mess up. Get...
That's what you get for hitting the sauce on the job.
Oh, a wise guy, eh? Well, I'll fix you.
My nose!
Hey, give me back my hammer! I needed to straighten that streamer into shape and
Hey, what's the matter with you, Pudding Head? What are you doing with it?
You idiots!
1,000 pardons, lady. Well, you were really good at catching that hammer for us.
I ought to catch you and toss you back, you mop-haired.
Get out! Get out! Get out!
You know what? I think I will call Twiley and her friends.
Hello, everyone. If Season 1 lit a fire for fans of all ages to enjoy a children's show about candy-colored horses, then Season 2 was about to fan the flames like crazy. By the time Season 2 was in production, Hasbro and DHX were now well aware of how people around the world were loving the heck out of their little show about talking ponies. You had grown men and women buying toys, plushies, t-shirts, as well as multiple conventions popping up around the world. I think some would go so far as to say that My Little Pony was now one of the most successful animated shows at the time. It was certainly a big win for Hasbro, who were trying to run an entire network dedicated to their properties. No one saw the whole Brony fandom coming. Now that the creative team at DHX were aware of the fandom, they would certainly offer some service to said fans, which would only increase as time went on. It's a little sad Lauren Faust would step down at the end of the season as executive producer of the series. She would go on to work on other shows like DC Superhero Girls. She may not have been with the series going forward, but she helped lay one impressive foundation that the creative team would use to bring us many more stories to come. The show still looks fantastic as we see the animators master their craft using Flash. I mentioned earlier that the creative team started to lean into the comedy and fan service a bit more this season, and it shows in both the writing and the visuals. From Pinkie Pie making a not-so-subtle reference to Chocolate Rain, go look it up, to the downright absurd faces and expressions I didn't think these characters would be capable of making. One character I want to briefly mention is the fan favorite Derpy, who actually got to have a few lines of dialogue in the episode The Last Roundup. This character was the product of a background pony suffering from an animation error that would be embraced by fans as much as the main characters. Heck, she even gets called by name in the episode's original airing. It's unfortunate that this bit of fan service would be edited out of reruns, home video, and streaming releases of this episode, since concerned parents thought the depiction of Derpy was possibly offensive to those with mental disabilities. At least this wouldn't be the last time DHX would show some love to everyone's favorite gray Pegasus. I want to take a moment to address three important characters to the series, being Apple Bloom, Scootaloo, and Sweetie Belle, or as they call themselves, the Cutie Mark Crusaders. We actually got introduced to these characters in Season 1, where the show establishes the lore of just what those marks on the flanks mean, and why they appear. Turns out, ponies aren't simply born with a tattoo on their flanks, but it's something that appears when a character comes to a personal revelation about themselves and what they want to do. For the Crusaders themselves, they have put it upon themselves to find out what their calling is in life so they can achieve a cutie mark of their own. Apple Bloom, as her name suggests, is Applejack's little sister, played by Michelle Creeber. Sweetie Belle is Rarity's younger sibling, played by Claire Collette. Finally, we have Scootaloo, who is the only one not related to the main six, played by Madeline Peters. Much like the other main characters, the Crusaders would become an important part of the series as we witness the lessons they learn in their quest for a cutie mark. Getting back to the main seven characters, yes, I still include Spike, Season 2 shows them all continue to grow and learn from each other to a point where each character in the series now shares a lesson in friendship that they learn at the end, not just Twilight Sparkle. We get to learn more about the history of these characters and the world they live in. Season 2 kicks off with a phenomenal two-part opening story introducing a new and very chaotic antagonist in the form of Discord, a strange chimera-like entity with power that could even put Princess Celestia on edge. Discord is brought to life by none other than John Delancey, who some older fans like myself recognized him from his role of Q from Star Trek The Next Generation. Personally, I also enjoyed Delancey's work in the first-person puzzle game Quantum Conundrum. Go check that game out if you haven't played it. With Discord, we get a villain that is both whimsical and at times very menacing. The extent of his magic power on display makes him capable of almost anything. Heck, at one point he even pulls out a stand. Okay, that doesn't happen, but I couldn't resist. In the opening episode, after Discord gets free from being encased in stone, he really puts the main six to the test, using his powers to actually turn the group against each other. Applejack becomes dishonest, Rarity becomes greedy, Pinkie Pie becomes a grouch, Fluttershy becomes cruel, and Rainbow Dash becomes a total traitor. It's like Zack Snyder's MLP. It's really interesting seeing a new villain that really challenges the main characters, even if the magic of friendship once again turns out to be the silver bullet that solves everything. I also love the creative look they made for Discord being this strange amalgamation of different creatures, which plays into his chaotic nature. Discord wouldn't be the only villain to challenge Twilight and her friends. We also get introduced to Queen Chrysalis, played by Kathleen Barr, and her army of changelings who are shape-shifting insect-like creatures that feed off the love of other beings. Where Discord mostly wants to cause trouble for fun, Queen Chrysalis is malevolent for the purpose of feeding her minions and extending her own power from the love they feed from. I really dig the insect motif the creative team went with the changelings design, and especially for Queen Chrysalis. As someone who gets creeped out by insects easily, the changelings just come off as disturbing just the right way without being too creepy for children. Another aspect of the show I may have overlooked in my previous video was the sound design. In particular, the music cues that change depending on who's speaking. For instance, while the ambient music may sound normal while most characters are speaking, if Rarity starts talking, you'll hear this fancy harpsichord music that is very much in line with Rarity's character. Little touches like this just adds to both the quality of the show and the depth of the character. The music still knocks it out of the park this season with some stellar songs, most notably This Day aria from the season finale and my personal favorite, which I'll get to later. In the finale, we are introduced to Princess Cadance, who is played by Britt McKillop. Not only does she voice dialogue for Cadance, but she gives a fantastic performance singing. In essence, she is singing from the perspective of two different characters, Chrysalis while impersonating Cadance, and Cadance herself while she's trying to escape to freedom. She nails this song, and if there's anything in this show that could be better than anything from Disney, this is certainly it. I have nothing but respect for Britt McKillop pulling off this number. Despite how much I enjoyed This Day, my favorite song of the season, though, is Smile Song from the episode A Friend in Need. This song is like if you put positivity in a bottle. The same could be said for Pinkie Pie herself with her nature of just wanting to make others feel good and happy. The lyrics and the music in this number are catchy enough to compete with any popular pop song on the radio right now. I'm not exaggerating when I say I could imagine hearing this on a given pop station. It just sounds that good. Shannon Chan Kent provides Pinkie's singing voice, and she gives a stellar performance. Smile Song is simply at the top of my chart for this season. Before I give my final score, it's time to talk about my top 3 episodes of the season. First up is Luna Eclipse, written by M.A. Larson. We haven't seen Princess Luna since her redemption in the opening 2-parter from last season. But that girl got herself a makeover! We're also introduced to the holiday of Nightmare Nights, that is basically an analog for Halloween, which is a personal favorite holiday for yours truly. Tabitha St. Germain brings Luna to life, and while her performance may share a few things in common with her role as Rarity, in that she has to enunciate every word properly and speak with something of a posh tone, she shows off her range in that her performance as Luna sounds vastly different than her performance as Rarity. I also love seeing how Luna as a character has to get used to interacting with modern-day ponies, as she's practically a fish out of water, having been banished for a millennia. Her character just has this awkward charm to her, and it's great that she would become a mainstay of the show, much like her sister Celestia. It is always a treat seeing Luna play off other characters. Luna is best princess, don't at me. Sisterhood Social, written by Cindy Morrow, is an episode that really connected with me on a personal level. Sweetie Belle's struggle to spend time with her busy sister, all while Rarity herself has to juggle taking care of her own personal responsibilities when she wasn't expecting company. To me, it's like both characters were right and wrong here. Sweetie Belle only wishes to help out her big sister and do nice things for her. Her only problem is that, being a child, she is unaware of the damage she would cause doing so because she simply doesn't know any better. Rarity, on the other hand, if she wasn't so busy with her work, would love to spend time with her sister. However, she is somewhat selfish and only suggests doing activities that would be appealing to her and not taking into consideration how Sweetie Belle would feel. Growing up, I was the youngest child out of 4. There were a lot of times I wanted to spend time with my big siblings and do things that they were doing and join on the fun they would be having. But more often than not, I would be told no or ignored because I was too little. In times where I could join in, I would make some kind of mistake or possibly get hurt because I was little and I didn't know any better. It's something this episode made me think back on, and for any of you out there who were the youngest in your family, I feel for you folks. There have also been times that, despite being an adult with a wife I love more than anyone, there would be times I want to help her or show her something, only to end up annoying her, getting in the way. Even as an adult, there are things that I don't know and I still make mistakes. It's another reason I'm so thankful that my wife is always forgiving of me and understands I only mean well, even if I set a teapot on fire. Finally, my most favorite episode of the season is Lesson 0, written by Megan McCarthy. I have watched this episode so many times. Throughout the first season, and even in the opening for season 2, Twilight has always been the more calm and collected of the main characters. Her level-headed thinking has always made her the voice of reason throughout the series. In this episode, however, the creative team gives us something rare. Twilight unhinged. Seeing how Twilight goes out of her way to try to help her friends almost felt like the show was trying to be a parody of itself. Twilight freaking out not just because she doesn't have anything to report on about friendship, but because the format of the show was broken. Aside from the stellar performance Tara Strong gives with Twilight having a freak out, the animators also give us some new faces that were only bound to become memes with how crazy the character looked. Not only is this episode hilarious from start to finish, but we also get a decent lesson at the end. While Twilight was clearly stressing out, when she goes to her friends, they first seem dismissive, thinking that Twilight's problem isn't as big of a deal as she thinks it is. But it is something that is important to her. When they fail to acknowledge this, the situation only gets worse. Thankfully, at the end of the day, the other 5 main characters realize what they've done and why it's important to always listen to your friends, no matter their problems, great or small. I just can't gush about this episode enough. Now, while I hate to be negative, there's a few things about this season that did bug me, though. In the first half of the season finale, we see that Twilight is suspicious of Cadence and how she's being rude and manipulative to everyone, including Shining Armor. However, when Twilight voices her concerns to her friends, what do? They ignore her. I'm sorry, but didn't the 5 of you learn to take Twilight's problems seriously in Lesson 0? Did y'all forget that lesson already? It certainly doesn't look super great when the finale and Lesson 0 were written by the same writer. It bugs me, but at the same time, I don't mean to condemn Megan McCarthy for this happening either. When you have to write for a weekly animated series, you have deadlines, and the pressure doesn't always allow you to cover every potential continuity problem. Just because I have criticisms with the story doesn't mean I believe the writers aren't trying their best. Everybody on the staff is doing the best they possibly can in the time that they have. The last thing I'll get off my chest is the episode The Mysterious Mary Duel. I'm sure many of you watching have seen plenty of criticism about this episode, and it wasn't super great to me either. Rainbow Dash is certainly a character that needs to be taught humility and modesty, but I just don't think the narrative used was the best way to go about it. Like, instead of the other 5 main characters pulling the rug out from under her, maybe Rainbow Dash could have learned something from a group of firefighters or EMTs. Those who put themselves in danger without asking for some kind of reward. That's just my 2 cents on that particular episode. Season 2 is certainly a step up from its predecessor. That's not to say that it was perfect, as there were still some episodes I wasn't too thrilled about. I can certainly say that I had a hard time trying to choose just 3 episodes to talk about as my favorites, as the pros of this season certainly outweigh the cons. Characters grew, new villains were introduced, new friends were made, and new lessons were learned. The animation and the writing only got better. That's why I give Season 2 my final rating of a solid 4 out of 5.